The tricky thing is that most fans, including myself, see this as a sacred genre for Marvel. The tough part is finding a partner that's crazy enough to take on the task, because you either do something like this big and bold, or you don't do it at all.
We really do live in the best timeline possible, because we're gonna get a new Marvel fighting game next year, 4v4 tag fighting game with the Marvel IP on 2026. This is absolutely nuts, and we have to talk about it. Like, I'm gonna get a heart attack recording this video. Please watch until the end of the video, in any case that I freaking die, dude. Just watch it, I need help. Okay, let's just talk about it. So, this game of course is being developed by ArcSys Works, the people behind games like Guilty Gear Strive, Granblue Fantasy Versus, and Dragon Ball FighterZ, one of my favorite tag fighting games of all time, and arguably the most successful tag fighting game in the last decade, with over 10 million copies sold. So what is this game gonna play like, how is it gonna feel, and what is going to be the repercussions from the mere existence of this game into the fighting game genre overall? Like, for example, if Capcom is not making MVC4, are they just making CVS3? Is this game like a soft confirmation that Capcom and SNK are just making Capcom vs SNK 3? Also, is this game going to revolutionize the tag fighting game genre in itself with the 4v4 system? Is that gonna be the new tradition for tag fighting games? There's so much that we have to talk about that we're gonna go, one topic at a time, but again, I'm gonna get a heart attack. And of course, the first thing that we have to talk about is the fact that Capcom is not on the announcement. ArcSys is in charge of the next big Marvel fighting game, and it is a huge surprise, I would argue, because most of us, as a community, already thought that if we ever got a new Marvel fighting game, it would probably be still Capcom working on it, taking into account the history that they have with Marvel, but no. ArcSys is on the charge now, and they are making the new Marvel tag fighting game. Now, this of course means that we're not gonna be able to play with any Capcom characters on the game, since it is not a versus game, and I'm actually kind of happy about that, because even though I love MVC and I love the Capcom side of MVC, the characters are amazing, I still think that Marvel is such a huge IP, and there are so many Marvel heroes and villains that deserve a spot in a fighting game that on a versus game would not be on the base roster, for example, because you just don't have enough slots. Like, there are so many Marvel characters that are so famous and have the perfect design for a fighting game that will probably lose a slot on an MVC game because you don't have enough slots for two sides. Like, for example, characters like Daredevil, Blade, that have never been on an MVC game are probably going to be on this game, and maybe even on the base roster, and they are literally perfect for a fighting game. So this game is gonna have one of the most hype and amazing rosters ever for a tag fighting game, because it is only centered on Marvel characters. And there is always of course the option of getting like a Capcom DLC. I will not be surprised if this game gets like a full team of 4 characters that are all from Capcom. Like Strider, Capitan Commando, Dante or Virgil, and like Mega Man. I wouldn't be surprised at all if something like that happens as guest characters, because at the end of the day, ArcSys knows that Capcom has an amazing relationship with Marvel, and they even talk about how they are inspired by the MVC series in their inside like work video. So there is obviously like a huge inspiration from MVC, and I would not be surprised at all if we get a full team of DLC guest Capcom characters eventually. And the other big consequence that this game kind of revolves around when it comes to Capcom is that what the hell are they working on if they are not making MVC4? Are they making, for example, CVS3? Is it actually gonna happen maybe and get announced this year? Are they making a new Darkstalkers? Are they making it a full new IP? Because SF6 has been out for 2 years, and you gotta understand that that timeline is enough to start making or developing a new fighting game like completely. You don't need to only work on SF6, and you probably have enough people and money to make a new fighting game. So we are probably going to see CVS3 even sooner than we think. And then we move into the new Marvel fighting game itself. How's it gonna feel? How's it gonna play? Is the 4v4 aspect of it going to make it like a super hard game, or is it gonna be accessible and more? We already know that the game looks amazing, the art style is incredible in the trailer, and I'm not surprised like around that at all. ArcSys makes some of the best visuals for fighting games that you can see, like Guilty Gear Strive, FighterZ, and also Granblue look incredible, so I'm not surprised around that at all. But is this game going to be like too crazy? In any case that you didn't caught in their video, the director for like Combat is actually the person behind Granblue. So that is a big signal, because it means that one, this game is probably going to be very easy, like mechanically speaking, the game is probably going to be very accessible and not that hard at all. But also, the characters are probably going to have a very strong identity, because something that is amazing about Granblue as a game is that every character feels immensely different, and I love that. And if this game is going to have that, and in the context of a tag fighting game, it's going to be really fun to play and relatively simple, so that is a great thing. And of course, you know, having the 4v4 aspect, even if the game is very accessible in terms of inputs, it's probably going to make the game insanely like fast-paced and have a ton of nuance. So this game is probably going to be nuts to play. Like, it's going to be absolutely crazy, like Ultimate MVC 3 and Fighters combined, and even crazier. You know, Fighters is already a very crazy game. If you play it like a relatively high level, it's absolutely nuts. So this game is going to be some of the most like high, fast-paced game in terms of fighting games that we're ever gonna get, probably. And I like that. I personally love, you know, the craziness of tag fighting games, so I'm super happy for that. And the 4v4 aspect of it, it's super like different. It's innovation for fighting games. So I also love that, because in many ways it feels like, even though the new fighting games that we have gotten over the years are really high quality and super fun to play, they all feel safe. They don't really change anything that much. So this is kind of like a new game that is actually trying to put their money on something completely new, and I love that. I really give them credit for actually trying something that is very, very different. And then of course you have the fact that the 4v4 aspect of the game does not only affect the gameplay itself, but it also has an effect on the roster, because you need 8 characters to have a fight. So we are probably gonna get a game that on release has, you know, like maybe 24 to 32 characters, which is amazing news, because, you know, the bigger rosters the better. I love big rosters on fighting games, and for a Marvel fighting game, that's even better. It's amazing news. So I think that we can actually put our bet on a relatively big roster on release that is probably going to have a ton of amazing both classic like MVC characters and maybe new Marvel characters that do deserve a spot on a fighting game but never got it because you need the Capcom slots for the MVC game that we got in the past. So I'm super excited for this game. It is absolutely insane that this is actually happening. And the last topic that I wanted to talk about is basically the money around this thing. Like, the budget around this game is clearly immensely high. It is a very expensive project, and they even say it openly in their interview inside with the company and workers on the project.
I'll tell you right now, a lot of fighting games, they never get to experience this level of production, and it's just a dream to even be working with these two great partners.
And the thing is, this has big consequences for the game overall as a product, because a big problem with fighting games, whether you like to accept it or not, is that they are not AAA video games. Only some of them are, like SF6 and Tekken 8 are AAA video games. But you can argue that a game like Fatal Fury, for example, is a AAA fighting game. You know, like, a fighting game fan is gonna love it, especially if they love SNK games. Like me, I love the game, but if I'm objective, you cannot compare using 50 or 60 bucks on a game like Fatal Fury instead of buying, you know, God of War or Black Myth Wukong. As a consumer, as someone that is just buying a video game and that's it, you have much better options than those fighting games that are not at the level of a high budget game like SF6, Tekken 8, and this game clearly is trying to be at the highest level possible. It's trying to be a AAA fighting game. So I absolutely love that, and I'm incredibly happy that this is the case, because the fighting game genre needs to have more games that have a ton of money in it and have amazing single player modes, you know, and like, I don't know, this game probably is gonna have amazing game modes overall, so I'm actually super excited for that and happy. So let me know in the comments, guys, which Marvel characters would you like to see in this new Marvel fighting game made by ArcSys and Works. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you did, and have an amazing day, and let's hope that 2026 gets here very soon.